Today, I'm going to show you exactly how I make $40,000 per month with my one-person AI business. Now, this is going to be a very in-depth A to Z guide on how to start your agency, get your first client, get your first $10,000 a month, and scale to 20 to 30K. Now, this goes over the setup, the niche, the offer, the outreach, the actual sales you need to do, the delivery you need to do, and how to actually scale from 10 to 20 to $30,000 per month. So you better take notes. Now, before I go over the setup, which is the easiest part, I want to talk about niche and I want to talk about offer, because you should have those things done before you actually set up your agency, because you are going to need to know who you're selling to in order to actually build a website around that. So niche is actually pretty simple. You need to specifically target high ticket clients. So what does that mean? High ticket clients are pretty much PPF, roofing, right? Plumbers, people that charge 5K per job, pretty much 5K per job or 1 to 5K per job. What are low ticket clients? Low ticket clients are people like car detailers, where they only charge $100 to $200 per job. Now you might be wondering why? Why should I only target high ticket jobs? Well, because with high ticket jobs, you can make your client much more money, much faster, and they're willing to pay you. If you get them 3 clients, right, you're pretty much making them 15K and they'll have no problem paying you 2K. If you close 3 jobs for this person, which will take the exact same amount of effort, you're only going to make $600 at most, which means you can only really charge them $200 if anything. Now, let me show you this in a graph, right? This is a low ticket client. In order to make 10K for this client and 10K for this client, you would need to get them pretty much like 16 or 20 different clients. Compared to a high ticket niche, you would only need to get them 5 jobs. And with this 5 jobs, they can make much more money, because usually high ticket services are way more profitable. Car detailers, not very profitable. It takes a lot of time to actually clean the car, do the service, compared to plumbers or roofers, where they get paid $60,000 to come in and fix the roof. They pretty much make like 80% profit margins. So them paying you 2K is actually very, very justifiable. Now, it's also very important that you focus on reoccurring revenue in the business, right? Bigger lifetime value is much easier to sustain. Now, what is lifetime value? That is how much you get paid over your lifetime working with this client. So if you get this client up front for $300, but then they pay you 2K every single month for 6 months, you pretty much have an LTV of 12K and $300. Now, if you have a low ticket client and you work with them for 6 months, at most you can charge $500. I mean, that's still 6K, but with this business, you're making way more money and it's way more profitable. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what services you can sell where they actually pay you every single month and stay with you and rely on you to grow their business. These are things like ads. These are things like lead management, things that actually save them money and save them time. So they just heavily rely on you. Now, it's also very important to know who you're targeting and where you're targeting them, right? We're specifically going to be running AI ads for local service-based companies, because everyone always needs local businesses, right? Everyone needs plumbing. Everyone needs roofing. Everyone needs all these services. So you want to pick a nice populated city, not some random little town, not some little ranch, right? You want to pick a nice location. And I highly recommend you start with local people in your city, local people that you know, your family, friends, people that you can talk to, and a client that you can easily sign. And you also need to specifically focus on finding niches that are underserved by other agencies, right? Something like e-com, where there's so many different e-com stores, because anyone can launch it. Anyone can just start a product and rip with it, right? Anyone can just start a product online and potentially do good. So there's a lot of agencies that specifically focus on e-com, and this is called a red ocean opportunity. It means there's a lot of competition and it's going to be really hard to find a client. But something like HVAC, something air conditioning, right? There's not a lot of people doing this. There's not a lot of people running ads for them because it is so niche. Now, I have this little niche tier list that's going to help you pick specific niches. HVAC is a great niche because it's 5 to 20K per installation, sometimes even 30K. Roofing is even crazier because you can go up to 50, 60K if you just get them one job. Think about it. If you came up to them and said, hey, I can get you $60,000 with just a $2,000 investment, they're going to say yes. Things like reconstruction and remodeling, right? They also charge hundreds of thousands of dollars for these services. Now, that's tier 1. These are the top of the top services. These are the best ones, but it is hard to get clients because they only want to work with people that are reliable, people that already have history, because they're such expensive services. Now, if we go to the bottom tier, tier 3, this is car detailing, this is handyman services, these are barbershops, low ticket services, where if you bring them in 3 clients, they only make like $600, so they can't really pay you a lot of money. So if this niche is really hard to get clients and tier 1 is really hard to have profitable clients, let's talk about tier tier 2, right? This is exactly where you want to start. This is the easiest to start, the easiest to scale until you're able to go to tier 1 clients. So cleaning services, right? This, you can have $500 cleans. Pest control, this could be actually even more than $400. Lawn care and landscaping can be thousands of dollars. Window cleaning, also great one. People charge $500, $600, sometimes even $1,000. Pressure washing is not the best one. It's probably closer to tier 3, but it's still a good niche. Things like fence installation, these very random niches where people charge thousands of dollars and need more clients. I actually have a buddy, he pretty much runs ads specifically for golf simulating companies, and they install golf simulators, which are 20K jobs, and it's so niche, it's so random, but it makes so much money because it's a high ticket service and it's a blue ocean opportunity because no one runs ads for them. So I have this thing called the reoccurring test, and whenever you pick a niche, I want you to think about this test. So this specifically kind of works on low ticket and high ticket services. So roofing customers, right? Let's say you get them one job. Let's say $30,000, but right here it's 15K. So let's put 15K, and they work with you for 1 month. Your LTV is 15K, right? So it's easier for them to stay with you if you just bring them in one lead. For this company, for a cleaning company that's charging $200 per clean, you'd have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 cleans, right? 12 cleans just to generate $2,400. And a little secret, cleaning businesses are not that profitable. They're like 50% margins. So in reality, you're only making them like 1 to 2K profit at most. And they're not gonna really want to pay you large retainers. They can only pay smaller retainers, like $300, right? It's easier to enter these niches, but you shouldn't be in them for long compared to high ticket niches, right? If you make them $15,000, you only need to bring them 1, 2, 3 leads, and they're going to stay with you for months, if not years. But it is much harder to enter. So to pick the perfect niche for you, you need to have some interest in the niche, you need to have some knowledge in the niche, and hopefully some experience in the niche, right? This is the perfect niche. And you should also have mid to high ticket, right? So for example, if you're into cars, contact people that are PPF companies, right? People that do car installation, car mods. This is a very high ticket niche as well. And this way you actually have knowledge, so it's much easier when you actually get to selling compared to something random like HVAC. HVAC is a great niche, but if you don't know anything about it, it's kind of hard to sell to them. Now, once you figure out what niche you want to do, let's say we want to do PPF specifically, right? PPF, not car detailing, but PPF or car wrapping or car modding. Now it's time to think about the offer. Now your offer is not actually your service, at least not what the customer thinks your service is. What your service is solving the customer's pain and giving them a dream outcome. So your customer, let's say, is constantly flooded with leads, but they're not closing and they're not making that much money. So that's their current state. Your service should take them from this state to their dream outcome. What is their dream outcome? Well, they don't want to be on the phone all day. They don't want to dial leads, but they also want to make a lot of money. So you can give them a CRM system that manages their leads, which I'll show you how to set up with AI in just a second here. And also you're going to use Facebook ads to bring them in more leads and make them more money. So Facebook ads funnel to the CRM. CRM is going to manage the leads, so they have to do less calls. You're going to use AI to respond to the leads and actually close them. So now we fixed their current state, their specific problem. And that is exactly what your offer does, right? That is your service. That is what you're doing. You're not selling them, hey, CRM and Facebook ads. You're selling them the dream of, hey, I can take you from point A to point Z with my service, and I'm going to help you with whatever your pain is, right? How you get them to pay you is by positioning yourself to bridge the gap from current state to dream outcome. How you can do this with low leverage as a beginner with absolutely no experience is a free trial, right? A simple free trial, or you can do something like RevShare, which I'll talk about in a second. Let's say you give them a 7-day or like a 2-week free trial. In these 2 weeks, you're going to get them some leads, right? And if you don't get them leads, you lost maybe 2 weeks, right? It's not a big deal for you. But if you did get them results and you did make them money, you get them on a retainer of 1 to 5K per month. And I actually just closed someone 2 days ago for 2K a month and then 1K a month after. It's not the craziest, but I haven't had a single objection because I was able to bridge that gap. They were opening a second location. They didn't want to manage all the ads and all the leads. So instead, we're actually running ads. We built out a CRM and we're training one of their employees to be able to use the CRM and constantly dial leads. So you need to give them a no-brainer offer, right? It's stupid for them to not try this. They lose nothing up front and they can only make money, right? Now, once you have proof, once you have 1 or 2 clients, then you're actually making money. You can start a retainer and rev share model. The best model is a rev share model because you can make money long term, right? You're a partnership, so they're willing to work harder, but also you want to have some money up front. So I highly recommend you charge between 1 and 2K up front once you have a client or 2, and then you also charge like 10% of profit or 10% of rev, and you're gonna make a lot of money. If you make them 100K, you take home 10K plus what you charge them up front. Now, if you want to do flat retainers, you can also do flat retainers of 1.5 to 3K a month. And they're awesome because you know exactly how much you're going to be making every single month, right? I know I'm going to be making 1K every single month from this client, and we charge them 2K up front. So I know for at least 3 months, we're going to make 5K with them because I signed them on a 3-month flat retainer contract. And eventually, once you get into really high ticket niches like roofing, you can charge 3 to 10K a month, which is insane. Personally, I'm more of a flat retainer person right here, not a high ticket retainer, because I'm mostly working in niches like PPF and car wrapping, because that's where my knowledge is. Now, the rev share model, right? It's also a really, really great model because you can make a lot of money, like I said, long term. If you make them 100K, you take home 10K, right? This does require trust and transparency. So I'm going to show you some different packages that you can offer. So an entry level package right here, you set up their ads and you manage them, basically tracking via Go High Level, which I'll show you how to set up, and weekly performance screenshots or text, stuff like that, right? This can be charged from honestly not even 300, like 500 to $2,000, depending on where the client is at. Now, a mid-tier package is everything in the entry, right? But you also go out and you use AI to create ads for them. The more ads you can create with a Facebook ad campaign, the more likely you are to make an insane amount of money. Facebook is all about testing. Before I got into the agency space, I had my own brand, my own ecom brand, and it was all about how many more creatives can I pump out than my competitors? Can I make 10, 20 ads? Now you can leverage AI to pretty much do this 2, 3, even 10x faster. You don't have to have a whole photo shoot. You don't have to have a whole recording setup. You can literally just do this in a day and make like 20, 30 ads. Right? Then you can have full on Go High Level automation. So not just basic lead tracking, but you can have follow-ups. As soon as a new lead comes in, they get a message, right? And then you give them a weekly, even a daily report, right? And now you can charge 1.5 to like 3K a month. Now, the high tier package, this is everything included, full CRM build out with automation, with a website, with a chat bot. You get monthly, and screw monthly, for 10K a month, you give them weekly, right? Weekly creative refreshes and even weekly strategy calls, right? That is how you charge a bunch of money. You make the client very happy, you deliver a bunch of shit, and the best part is that all this stuff you can make with AI in literally just a few days. So now you know what niche you're doing. Let's say we're doing PPF, and now you know exactly how much you're offering. So since we're just starting out, we'll do the entry level package, right? And let's say we're going to charge $750 upfront for website plus ads. And then after that, you're going to charge them $500 a month for management, right? So this is, for example, a beginner offer that I recommend. Obviously, it's not crazy. You're not going to make $1 million, but this is what's going to take you to the stage where you can charge 2K upfront, and then you can charge 1K monthly retainers like I do at this moment. And then that will also take you in the future where you can charge 5K upfront and then 2K monthly retainers, right? So you got to start somewhere. A lot of people even start on free trials, right? If people are willing to give free trials, they're going to beat you because it's all a game of, hey, who can offer the client the best offer upfront, which later on is going to pay off 10x fold. But let's say we have our niche, we have our price. Now let's talk about actually branding, how you can make your setup, how you can make your website. And this is the easiest part, right? This shouldn't take more than 24 hours, 48 hours at most, right? So let's say you want to create an agency name. You can pretty much do this with Claude really quickly. You can get a domain with Google Workspace, which I'll show you in just a second. Same with the logo. You can use Claude and you can use Gemini, which I highly recommend Nano Banana for image generation. You can also use Higgsfield, which is a little bit more expensive. Figure out your color palette, and then you have to build a website with either Lovable, or I highly recommend Go High Level, which is going to be the CRM system you're going to be selling to your clients. So you might as well get it for yourself. And how you're going to actually set up your website is in the headline, you're going to call out a specific problem, and you're going to be the solution. And then you're pretty much going to have an offer that's a no-brainer. So a free trial, or maybe some kind of call to action, book a call, free audit, stuff like that. And then you give them the free strategy call. Inside the strategy call, you're pretty much going to show them all that pain they have. Hey, you're literally dialing all day long. You're calling all these leads, or maybe no one's picking up the phone with these leads, or you find out what their pain is, you use that pain and you sell them the outcome, and your step 2 is the solution. Your solution is from pain to outcome, like we already discussed. You can also use Claude to actually build this out, and I'll actually build out an entire agency right now in front of you, so you'll see how quick you can do it. You can do this in 10 minutes. And before I show you the entire Go High Level setup, let's actually create the branding. So I did create a name here already, but I'm going to show you exactly how to do it from scratch. Literally just go to Claude. I'm going to create a new chat, and I'm pretty much just going to ask it to create a name for me. So I do have this AI agency starter kit, and it has all the prompts and resources that you need. So you can just take a screenshot of this, and these are skills, but I'm just going to copy and paste this as a prompt right now. So we'll go to Claude, paste this in, and there's a few things that we have to edit. So here is my industry. So we're going to say the industry is PPF/wrap shops. Type of client, it's pretty much local service. Feeling I want to convey is modern SaaS, so software style. That's the look I want to go for. We're going to leave this. These are the rules, blah, blah, blah. Brand identity. So you can fill all this out. I'm not going to do that right now because this is going to take a while. I'm just pretty much going to send this in and it's going to create some resources for us. Here are 25 agency ideas. So Apex Flow, I already like that. Cover lift, it's okay. Prime scale, not bad. Velo marketing, not bad. Drive scale, it's okay. Slate marketing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Apex Flow. I kind of like Apex Flow and we'll do Apex Flow AI. So for Apex Flow AI, I'm going to say, make me branding for this, the logo style and color scheme. Give me a prompt for Gemini to generate the logo. That's going to pretty much create our brand kit, which is going to be really useful, right? It puts all the hex colors, all this stuff. And if you look in the Miro, we have primary, secondary, and then a neutral color. And that's exactly what it does right here. This is the primary, secondary, and the neutral color. And it has all this stuff right here. So for the prompt right here, it has everything. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go to Gemini and I'm going to create a new chat. I'm going to paste this in. And I highly recommend you use Gemini or Higgsfield, which is kind of expensive. So you can start with Gemini or ChatGPT, click create image and send this. And now it's going to start making our logo. Now, while it makes our logo, let's talk about pretty much the website. So for the website, I highly recommend you use Go High Level. This is what I use to track all my leads in my agency, the calls we have booked and all this stuff. And you're also going to use this for your clients. Right here, for example, is a client pipeline where we have a lead tracker, bookings, reoccurring, stuff like that. And we have all these potential clients. So gave quote, all this stuff. We have all the follow-ups and systems set up for them. It has follow-ups, all that great stuff. So I'm not going to get into that right now, but boom, it generated us a logo just like this. It's already done. So we have a logo, we have everything we need. So if we go to our Miro board right here, I'm just going to take this, put it to the side just so we have it. We have our colors, we have our name. Now let's make the actual website. So to actually create your agency website, you can do this in Lovable, you can do this in Claude, but I highly recommend you do this in your Go High Level account because like I said, you're going to use this for your clients. So you might as well use it for yourself. You're going to see right here, AI Studio. Click on AI Studio. It's going to load and then it's just going to be exactly like Lovable. So to actually create the website, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Gemini. I'm going to say, create this logo with a white background, and black text and zoomed in. So I'm going to let that load. Meanwhile, I'm going to go to Claude and I'm going to say, make me a prompt to create a one-page website for this agency. And then I'm going to go to Claude. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I'm going to throw that in. I'm going to say, structure it like the picture provided. And now it's going to pretty much build me out a prompt. Boom. Gemini has finished. Looks beautiful. I'm going to download this. I'm going to go back into Go High Level. I'm going to upload the actual image. And then I'm going to go back into Claude and I'm going to wait for it to give me the prompt. So I'm just going to copy this prompt. It has all the colors, all that stuff. If you use the actual resource that I provided, I'm going to let this load really quickly so I can copy it all, but it structures everything out for you, which is amazing. Like you used to have to pay a developer, do all this stuff. It would take forever. Now I'm just going to paste this in. I'm going to click enter and it's going to load and do its thing. So you have to give this a few minutes and it's going to make a beautiful AI website that you don't have to do it all. And the best part is that it's not a credit-based system. It's completely free. With Lovable, you have to pay. This is included with Go High Level, which is the best part. You don't have to pay separate for this. It's included in Go High Level in the $97 a month plan. If you do want to use Go High Level, you can click my link down below and get a free trial. But I'm going to let this load. And pretty much our website is done. Now for inside of the Go High Level setup, if you decide to use Go High Level, you want to kind of set it up a little bit differently. So you want to have the calendar, right? And in the calendar, you set your availability. That's it. Super simple. You'll have a booking link, which you can also do with Go High Level. You can create your own calendar and booking times. Now for the actual pipeline of Go High Level, while the website builds, you're pretty much going to have a cold prospect, right? You're going to call them or you're going to send them DM, whatever outreach you do. They reply and then you book them into your calendar, right? And now you're going to have a trial that you're going to offer them on the call. After 7 or 14 days, you're going to sign them on the retainer. During the trial, you're going to run their ads, set up their CRM, which again, I will fully show you how to do. And then you wait until they churn. And when they churn, which means they stop working with you, you can offer them to buy out the system for like 5-10K, or they can just part ways with you and you keep all your stuff. The best part with Go High Level, once you build a system once or a snapshot once, your Go High Level account, just like this one I showed you, for example, you can just download this and reapply it to every single account that you make. Now for actual taking payments, you can easily set this up with Go High Level. Just set up a Stripe account and you can link it to GHL. Now for email and SMS, this is super important. People do like genuinely underestimate this so much. You need to have a call booked funnel. So whenever they book a call, you'll send them a text or you'll send them an email, which confirms the time. It sets the expectations. So make sure you're in a quiet environment, you have your computer, you're ready to speak, you're not driving, you're not eating, all that stuff. And you build anticipation by providing them free resources. So the same way I'm providing you the Notion doc with all the information, you pretty much will provide them a bunch of resources, show them examples of Facebook ads, a calculator which you can build with AI that shows how much money you can make, and that's pretty much it. So the website is still loading, it's almost done, and I do have the Instagram profile. Once you actually have a few clients, you can start building out, and I'll get into this in just a second. Instead, let's actually talk about outreach, right? How are you going to get clients? Now, to get a client, there's three main things. There's volume, there's consistency, there's personalization, right? Consistency is the most important factor. The people that succeed the best, especially the people in my personal program, right, are people who are consistent, who can day after day continue calling, continue dialing, continue DMing, and keep doing it. Even if the volume is low, someone can come in, do 100 calls a day, even, let's say 500 calls a day, do it for 2 days. You made 1,000 calls, great. Or even if you're doing 100 calls a day, which is a lot, and you do that for a week, or let's say you do that for 10 days, you burn yourself out, you do 1,000, great. But someone who's consistent, someone who does 30 calls for 30 days, right? You're only going to make 900 calls, but you do this month after month after month. You do this for 3 months straight. You pretty much have, 2,700 calls. So if we do the math here, 1,000, right? Times, let's say you book in 20% of your calls, right? That's 200 calls booked, which realistically it's less. Let's say 1%. Let's say you book in, let's say it's 0.5%, right? You book in 50 calls. Same with the 2,700 times 0.5. You book in 50, 100. So it's 135 calls. Now the person who books in 135 calls is always going to win. Now this person is probably going to give up, right? Even though they did a bunch of calls, they're going to give up. And this person will always come out on top. And the thing is, you're going to get better and better and better. The person who dials, a bunch of times in one day, they're not going to get good. They're going to get a bunch of reps in for 2 days. It's like if you go to the gym and you just spam work out for 2 days or for a week, you're not going to gain any muscle. You're just going to be sore. But someone who works out slowly, gains a little muscle, continues working out, gains a little more muscle, gains a little bit more muscle. After 3 months, that person is going to be bigger and not sore anymore. And there's also personalization, which is just pretty much how personable you are on the call, which just it comes with time and it comes with reps. So as long as you stay consistent, this will naturally go up and you'll become more liked. You'll be easier to talk to on the phone. And I highly recommend you start with cold calling, right? For outreach, you can do cold call, cold DM, cold SMS, so many different outreach methods. I highly recommend cold calling because when it actually comes to sales, you'll have experience on how to talk on the phone and you'll be able to talk to people much better. Because a lot of times there's a gap right here, right? Let's say you can do a bunch of outreach through SMS and you do like 10K outreach somehow. You're gonna have a big gap in your sales skills. You're not gonna know how to talk to people. Compared to if you cold call, you're gonna slowly progress and move towards sales where you actually have good sales skills. So I highly recommend you cold call. By the way, the website is done. Beautiful. Apex AI. Boom. We have our logo. We get PPF and RAB jobs, more book jobs on autopilot. Start your 7-day free trial. See how it works. If you scroll down, it shows the entire process. That's beautiful, actually. It shows exactly what you get. And obviously you can adjust this, alter this. It has reviews. And I did this in 5 minutes, right? I made an agency website and it looks great on mobile as well. It shows everything. This actually needs to be fixed. But if you spend a little bit more time on this, you spend, an hour or two, perfect. This is a beautiful website. And then you can have the book a call link pretty much linked to your Go High Level account, your calendar right here. Just set that up and that's linked to your Google Meet and it's fully automated. Now, the last thing you'll need to do is actually make a list, right? Who do we cold call? Who do we cold DM? Who do we cold text? That is the beauty of AI. You can go to Claude. We go to our Notion list right here and we go to lead sourcing. Very simple prompt. You could just literally copy this. Then we go to Claude. We create a new message and then I type in, give me a list of PPF/wrap/car styling shops or car auto styling shops. That's what they're called. Businesses in Miami, Florida, because that's where I'm at right now, with their name, phone number, and website, right? So give me a list of 100. It's going to do that right now. It's going to scrape the internet. Okay. This is amazing. Now, while it does that, there's another way. You can pretty much look up lead scraper Yelp and you can get Yeast Scraper right here. I already have this extension. I'm going to enable it so you can see what it looks like. So we're going to go to Yelp and then you click on Yelp and then you go to pretty much car detailing or car PPF. So we're going to look up PPF installer. Right in Miami, we're just gonna let this load. And then right here, you're gonna see this tab with the extension and then you click start auto extract. It's gonna start extracting results. You can leave this running for a day, 2 days, an hour, 2 hours, however long you want. You have to give it a little bit of time and this is gonna start exporting results. And then once it has like 100, 200, 300, you click export results and then it's gonna give you this giant list and you can just download. Now there's 200 on the free plan. The thing is, what you can do is you can literally just copy and paste the whole thing, put it into Claude and just say, hey, format this for me or take a screenshot and do the exact same thing. So you don't actually have to pay for this. And Claude already instantly generated me 50, and I can tell it, hey, keep going, right? Keep going, and it's going to keep going. And what I highly recommend you do is pretty much make a little bit of a lead tracker. So if we go to Google Drive, I should have a lead tracker. Again, if you don't have Go High Level, this is what you would do. The last thing I would do is literally take all these leads and go to Go High Level, go to opportunities, and create all these opportunities. So I would set up a pipeline. So leads, click add opportunity. Then you would pretty much put in their information. And if you want to do this only if they pick up the phone, it's better because you don't have to spend so much time doing this. And you'll have a giant list of leads to call. And then you call them, and then you put them into lost/nurture, or you put them into callback or unqualified or booked. And depending on which section they're in, you can have an automation set up right here. And this automation will pretty much text them or dial them or email them, depending exactly what they do. So right now, if I have someone coming in through ads, they're going to get a text strip, so a bunch of texts, and then I'm going to send them value. Same with spam, I just remove them from the list. But if I have someone, for example, come in from the form, they opt in, they're going to get an SMS and they're going to get an email. So this is exactly how you can set it up. As you can see, it made another list of making 100 right now. You can just tell it keep going, keep going, keep going. You see we have a bunch of numbers. So it's really simple to actually get leads nowadays. Now I highly recommend you use Yelp. You can use other platforms like Angie's List, but Yelp is the best one. You can also get Google scrapers, but Claude pretty much does that for you. Now if you don't want to pay for Go High Level, just make a Google sheet, make a Notion document, and just track every single person like this, and it shows everything. You could just stage, so call booked, what niche they're in, what their email or name is, whatever, phone number, all this stuff, and just continue wave dialing them. And eventually they might get mad at you after a few times, but eventually they'll book a call as you get better on sales. And I highly recommend you do 3 hours of cold calling every single day. Now this might sound like a lot, but the thing is, we're starting a business, we're not building a side hustle, right? You can try drop shipping, you can try e-com, you can try Amazon FBA, you can try all these different business models, but the thing is, they're all side hustle. You have to put in money to invest in them, and they also just take a lot of time, and they're really high risk, and they can be high reward, but most of the time it goes up and then it goes back down. With e-com, you can hit on a product and it's going to go up, and then eventually that product will die because someone else will use it and it'll go down. Same thing with day trading. You can get a crazy trade and go up. Next day you can lose literally all of your money and go down to below where you even started. This is a business, and businesses work a little bit different than side hustles. They take time, a lot of time, and I'm going to build this little graph for you so you understand. It's an exponential graph. So it's going to start off really slow, and then it curves up and goes insane, right? So if we look up exponential graph, this is what it looks like, right? So you start off really slow, but as you get one client, you can now use them as a testimonial. So it's going to be easier to close the next client. Once you have the next client, it's going to be easier to close the other client. Then your clients will give you referrals. Then your clients will stay with you. So now you can spend money on YouTube, on Instagram, on ads, all this stuff. And your growth is going to go up and up and up and up. Eventually you get to a point where your growth is literally going insane. Obviously there's a cap. I would say 30 to 50K per month is where it's really hard to scale past, but most people are happy with 30, 50K a month. The way you scale past 30, 50K a month is just by running an insane amount of ads and becoming an industry leader and working with really established companies where you can charge them like 10K a month, right? The people that run Walmart's ad, they probably get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars per month if they don't have their own team. But if you're working with small local service-based businesses, I would say the cap is like around 100K. But regardless, you need to dial for like 3 hours every single day until you land your first client, and then you need to do it again and again and again. And this is tough. I'm not gonna lie, this is tough. And if you're not able to do this, let's say 1 hour per day, if you're not able to do 1 hour per day, this business model is not for you. It's for people who can put in the time and know they're building something great and that it takes time and eventually it's going to pay off, right? It's very slow growth and then very high growth, unlike other business models, which can be very high growth very fast and then usually are very fast downwards growth as well. So I do have this little cold calling script you can use, but this will come naturally with you. Obviously in my program, I have my own scripts. By the way, if you are interested in learning, click the link down below. I also do run master classes, so you can click the link down below if you are interested in just learning about this business model even more. But pretty much cold calling script right here. Hey, is this blank name? Usually you can scrape their name by checking the LLC database. So if you go to LLC database Florida and then pull this up, this is an extra step. So your choice if you want to do this. You don't have to do this because this does take a lot of time if you have a lot of leads, because your pickup rate is probably going to be 50%. Half the people pick up. So if you dial 300 leads, 150 pick up, you probably book in 5, right? But let's see right here, 305 customs, right? Let's look them up in the LLC search. So if we look up name and then we type in 305 customs, we'll see 305 customs right here, active LLC. So it's one of these, and then it shows their name. So the name is Arocho, or Lewis. The name is Lewis. Miami, so this is the exact business. So you can call, and it's usually like a pattern interrupt when you say, hey, Lewis, and they're gonna be like, oh, did we speak before? Do I know who you are? Or like, hey, Lewis, I'm calling back, blah, 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 all this stuff. And it's gonna catch them off guard. They're gonna be like, oh, what's happening? You say, I actually don't recommend this. My editor wrote this, so I don't think you should say your name. It's a waste of time. just get straight into, don't even say I run a marketing. This is all wrong, right? So I do have a script. I'm going to pull up the script. So this is a script that I actually recommend right here. Hey, am I speaking to the owner of business name? Or you say, hey, this is, is this Lewis? Oh, how do you know? If they say no, you say the owner available, right? You try to go through the gatekeeper, but usually if there's a gatekeeper, you're not going to talk to the owner. But if you do connect to the owner, perfect. I highly recommend you just give them the pitch straight up, right? Don't waste their time. Don't waste your time. You want to get to the next phone call as soon as possible. So you say something like, hey, this is a cold call. If you're not interested, no problem, but can you give me 23 seconds? I'll explain exactly how we can help businesses like yours get more paying customers. And if you decide, it's not worth the conversation, whatever, or if you decide you want to talk to me more, then you can talk to me more. Does that sound good? Yes. So now you have permission, you can move forward. If they say no, you can do some objection handling. I'm not going to go over that right now, but if they say yes, you pitch to them, website, you pitch them CRM, you pitch them ads, whatever it is. But your main goal here is not to sell to them, because you're never going to sell from a cold call. All those people think you're some Indian scammer. How you actually close is by getting them to book a second call. And the second call is a Google Meet where you're actually going to have a presentation and you're going to pitch to them. The best part is you can make this presentation with Gamma AI. It's super simple. It takes 5 minutes. I can actually show you a presentation on one of my students. So I don't want to fully leak this because it's one of my students, but it shows like this is the Go High Level automations that we set up. These are ads that we create. This is the CRM system that we build with all the leads. And it pretty much initially talks about their pain and then what they're going to gain and what we're going to help them. But a lot of times I highly recommend on the actual sales call, which we're going to get into that in just a second, but usually we want to do a discovery call where you just get to know the person. And how you get to know the person is how you're going to figure out their pains. Like, why didn't you try running ads before? Why didn't you have a website yet? Why don't you have a CRM system? And they say stuff like, oh, I don't have time to set all this up. I don't have the money, which kind of sucks if they say that. Or I don't, I worked with another agency in the past. It sucked. And you're going to know when you sell to them, hey, well, we're not like this other agency. This is what we can do instead, right? So you can press on that, find out that pain and press on it later. But let's talk about the actual cold pitch. So if you get objections, we already have someone doing our marketing, we're not interested in ads, send me an email. You kind of want to take their objection and reflect it back on them. So we're not interested on ads. Be like, I totally understand. A lot of our clients actually said that in the beginning that they're not interested, but how about we go over a 10-minute call? And if you hate me afterwards and you never want to hear from me again, no problem, right? So it's kind of like a very low risk thing that they can do, right? It's going to take 10 minutes and you're going to flip that objection and turn it into positive. Send me an email. Oh, perfect. I'll send you an email. Could I just get your name, an email so I can put you into the system right here so I can book a call? After you book a call, it's going to send you a bunch of resources and explain what it's going to say, or it's going to explain what we're going to talk about, but it's actually only a 5-10 minute call. So just give me your email. Let me book you in, right? Maybe that one wasn't the best objection, but so pretty much if they give you an objection, you always want to turn it back on them. If they say we already have somebody doing our marketing, you can say that's perfect. How about we have a 5-10 minute call? We'll do an audit. I'll check out if there's room for improvement, how your current ads are doing, because a lot of the times they actually don't know how their ads are doing. The clients are usually older, 30 to 40 years old. They have no idea how to read the analytics, and there might be room for improvement. They might be running ads with no follow-ups, just straight lead forms and no website, and that would cause the ads to do worse. So there is always a room for improvement. There's always room to flip the objection back on them. For example, if they say we're not interested, you can say that's perfectly fine. What is currently working best for you? How are you acquiring new customers? What are you using? Google ads, this, that. Like, let's get on a 5-10 minute meeting, no risk at all. And if you never want to hear from me again, you can block me right after. Like, let's just do it, low risk for them and high reward. I also recommend to do some sort of DM or cold outreach. Again, cold calling is absolutely the best because you get to improve on your sales skills, but Instagram DM and cold outreach is also really, really good. The very first thing you need to do is pretty much set up your algorithm to actually push you more content for your niche. All you would do is go to Yelp and Google, go to those people's Instagram page, follow them, comment on their post, save their post, like, comment, and then you'd go on their Instagram page, you'd follow them, you'd comment on their posts, you'd save them, you'd like it, pretty much engage with the content, and Instagram is going to see, oh, like, I want to see more of that content. So now your explore page and your reels page are literally just going to be people in your niche that you can hit up. And that's the best part, is that with this business model, you don't have to be in the same city, you don't have to be in the same location, you don't even have to be in the same country. You can do this from anywhere. You can be in New York and the business is based out of California, still sign the client and still bring them great results. Now what you can also do is pretty much do things like location based searching or hashtag based searching. If somebody's putting hashtag PPF in their comments, it's probably because it's a PPF shop. So you can click on it and get more potential prospects just like that. And once you actually find these prospects, you want to check out their profile, right? Do they have a website? Are they posting often? Do they have low engagement? Are they running ads? These are all pain points and opportunities for you to slide into their DMs and pretty much pitch your services or pitch a call. Now, I highly recommend that you don't just pitch whatever, right? You shouldn't just copy and paste the DM, because Instagram will see that and they're going to ban your account. Not ban your account, but shadow ban. So all your messages will go to spam. spam. And also your personalization level is going to be too low and they just won't respond because they probably already get DMs just like that all the time. What you should do instead is pretty much send voice notes or short videos. If you've ever seen on Instagram, pretty much to hear a voice note, you need to actually play it, right? You won't see the transcription, you need to play it. And same with a video, you need to click on the video to see what they sent. And businesses don't usually get sent videos or voice recordings, so most of the time they're going to open it just to see what it is, and that is your opportunity to pitch. Now here's an outreach script that you can use, and I actually recommend this one. This one's specifically for cold calling. Now this isn't a cold call video, so I'm going to make another one of those later, but pretty much you usually can look up their name in the LLC search. So if you look up LLC search database Florida, pull this up, and if you find the specific name of the business, which we have it pulled up in Claude, for example, 305, actually let's do 305 Customs, and then you click search by name, and then you put in the entity name. You're usually going to see their business. So right here, active, I would click on it, and the owner's name is Lewis. Perfect. So you would call them and you would say, hey Lewis, you know, am I speaking to Lewis? And it'll catch them off guard. Oh, how do you know who I am? How do you know my name? And they'll think they already know you, right? If it is the owner, you usually want to pitch. So you say, perfect, I'll be completely straight up with you. This is a cold call. If you're not interested, no worries at all. But if you can give me 23 seconds of your time, I'll explain exactly how we help businesses just like yours get more paying customers. And then you can decide if you want to have another conversation with me. So again, very low risk, very high reward. You can pause this video, write this down, take a screenshot, whatever you need. But this is pretty much the script. Now, obviously, if you're sending a video, it's going to be a little bit different. You can have a question at the end. So like, how does this sound? Let's get on a call. How does that sound? You should be very, very specific in what you're offering. So CRM, ads, website, whatever it is. And it should be short, under 60 seconds, because most of the time they're not going to watch the entire thing. So give your value within the first 30 seconds. And then after the first 30 seconds, try to give testimonials, try to build trust, stuff like that. Now, let me show you the actual volume targets that you should reach. With a new account, right, you're going to get banned if you do a lot of generic outreach. So if you do personalized outreach, like I said, 30 to 50 DMs is great. And if you have a warmed up account, so 1 to 3 months old, or an established account, even over 3 months old, 50 to 80 is honestly the limit. I would never go over 100 because Instagram is just going to shadow ban you, and it's not worth that risk because now all your messages will go to spam, right? And that's going to cause you for your messages to convert worse, and it's going to hurt you in the long run by doing too much outreach. That's why I highly recommend cold calling. Now, there's also a 12-day follow-up sequence, so you want to make sure to follow up with every single one of the leads. Day 1, you send the voice note or the message. Day 2, you'll pretty much just say, hey, like a little bump. Now you give them a few days, you bump the message again, maybe you send them another video, another voice message, and they'll see it in their requested tab. Then day 9, you can try to call them, email them, and say, hey, you know, I messaged you a few days ago, I don't know if you saw, blah, 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 like that'll be your hook. And then day 12, you pretty much send them a little bit more free value so you can give them a free audit. You can use the power of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, to say, hey, you know, there's this specific competitor in your area already running ads and you're still not doing it. And if you don't get a response, don't worry. What you do is you'll actually go to Go High Level. In your agency account, what you can do is actually have specific follow-ups. So each one of these follow-ups is going to have specific messages. So this is actually the wrong account right here. So right here, ads. So right here, booked call. This is where people booked call, or this is where they opt in, where I get a lead. Then depending where they're at, I'll nurture them, which means I'm going to send them text, I'm going to send them email. So let's say, for example, they did not respond. What you're going to do is move them to a section called lost/nurture. And then what you can do is set up automations where if they're in the lost/nurture section, you can pretty much create you can use using AI, or just type in, if they are in X section, they will get texts over the next 60 days trying to reactivate the customer, right? So this is revisit in 30 to 60 days. It can automatically shoot them a text. Now, if they do respond and they do book a call, that's awesome. You should 100% use Go High Level as a supplementary channel, pretty much make your leads more warm. So right here, again, I have automations. It's the same automations I use for the actual businesses that I work with. But right here, if they're in specific sections, they're going to get a bunch of messages. So for example, follow-up messages right here, you see they'll get like texts. And if they don't respond, they'll get an email. If they don't respond, then they're going to get a voicemail. You can even send voicemail with this, right? But with the specific automation, when you book someone in, you can keep it simple, right? Message 1, message 2, message 3 within 7 days of the call. You can also send them additional email resources, right? You can email them calculators, you can email them a breakdown, you can send them an entire personalized or non-personalized video going over your entire offer, what to expect, all that stuff, so your prospect stays warm and they actually know what to expect when they show up to the meeting. Now you can literally do this all with Claude, by the way, right? You don't have to write these messages yourself. You can say something like, hey, my name is Dan, you know, I'm really glad to meet you, here's your booking link, blah blah blah, here's your confirmation time, whatever it is. But you should definitely have confirmations whenever you book somebody, or even when you don't book somebody. Now I highly recommend you do outreach research on your client. So just put their information and use the Prospect Research MD right here. I have it. Let me give it to you guys. So it's a super in-depth prompt. You can literally put in the information, put this as well. Pretty much going to tell you everything you need to know about the customer, so you're actually able to properly make these messages, these follow-ups, and all this stuff. Now, again, if you want to use Go High Level, you can use my extended trial link and you'll get a few extra benefits from it. So check it out down below. And like I said earlier, if you do want to work with me, click the link down below, and we are having a mastermind really soon. So I highly recommend you sign up for that. It's going to be amazing, and you're going to learn even more in depth than just this video. This video is already like an hour and a half long. So let's continue. The actual sales part, right? You booked your first client. Congratulations. Let's talk about sales. Sales is a little bit different, right? Sales is something that comes with time, but I can give you a lot of advice so you can actually be prepared. Very first thing you want to do before your sales call is do a little bit of research on your customer. So check out their Instagram, check out their website, check out the ad library, right? It's a free resource. Anyone can do that, and just put in their Instagram, see if they're running ads, look at some competitors in their local area, see if they're running ads, right? And this is going to give you a lot of leverage when you're actually ready to present. So put in all that information into Claude. And again, you can use the Prospect Mini Audit prompt, and it's going to help you pretty much create a presentation for your customer. I also highly recommend you use Gamma, because Gamma will build the entire thing for you. Here's an example of one of my students' presentation. It shows some of the Go High Level automations right here. It shows some of his testimonials. It shows the pain points. It shows some examples of ads, video ads, Facebook ad results, all this stuff, booked out calendars. So I highly recommend you make a presentation, and this was made fully with AI using Gamma. You can also make a mirror board if you want to walk the client through kind of how this video is. It is more, I guess, immersive, but you want to make sure you have a good sales presentation, and this is exactly how you want to structure it. So the very first thing you want to do is figure out their current situation. I call this the discovery part of the call. This should last around 15 minutes, and you just talk to them like a normal person, right? You're not trying to sell to them. You're just trying to get to know them, why they haven't ran ads, why they have no CRM, why they have no website, and figure out exactly where they're at with their business. And this is going to give you hints later on when you're actually selling to them. So for example, if they say, hey, I did try to build a website, I worked with this marketing agency, but they were charging, $2,000, $3,000 for just the website. Or I did try to run ads and it didn't do well. Now you have specific pain points that you can actually sell to them later on. Number two is pretty much showing them the exact problem they're having. So you're missing out on leads. You're wasting time. You have a leaky funnel where leads are coming through and a lot of leads are not coming out, where you can take some of these leads and actually convert them. So let's say if you have 100 people going through your funnel, only one comes out, but you have 99 other people in here that might buy in a week, that might buy in a month, that might buy, 3 days later if you just follow up with them. And this will get you more sales. This will get you 5, 10 more sales and make your funnel perfect for ads, number one. And number two, even for organic traffic, it's going to make you more money because you have an actual system, right? Show them the problem and then show them the cost of inaction. So if they did fix this funnel, they could potentially make an additional 10K, right? They could sign 5 more customers or clients, whatever it is, let's say for PPF for 2K, right? They could make an additional 10K a month if they fix their funnel. Working with you is only 2K a month. So if they decide to pay you 2K and you save them that 10K, the cost of inaction is pretty much $8,000. That's how much their business could be losing by not working with you. And at the end, you are the solution, right? You are the key to whatever their problems are. And that's why we do the discovery section, to figure out all the problems, right? So, hey, you did work with another marketing agency and they did not fix your funnel properly, or they did not build a good website, or they're overcharging, or they did this, right? You want to press on those pain points that they were having before so you can actually use them right now to sell back to them. Pretty much your main goal is to literally tell them, hey, you have a problem. You need to show them that they have a problem and you have the solution right here. You just need to bridge them together, and you are that bridge. And that is why they are paying you. And you can actually make this pain harder by having the discovery call, by understanding what other pain points they're having along the way, or what happened in the past, and how you can bridge everything together and bring them to this specific location where they're not going to have that pain anymore. And then after that, you can have social proof, obviously. And at the end, you just have a price. I highly recommend just have a price, like let's say 1K a month, or let's say you have 2K up front and then 1K a month retainer, and then you just shut up. Hey, this is the price. And then you're going to get a real truthful answer most of the time. They either say, yes, let's do it. Awesome. You book them in. Or they say, hey, it's too expensive. Then you tell them, okay, we'll do half up front right now, half in 30 days. So 1K right now, and then 1K in 30 days, right? And if they're still unhappy, you can actually use a couple strategies. So you can ask them, well, if price aside, you can tell them, hey, price aside, how useful do you think this would be for your business? Oh, if they say, I think it'd be super useful, this is perfect. You understand that they actually want this. It's just a price issue. So how do you fix the price issue? Well, you pretty much tell them, well, look, you want it yourself. You said it yourself. Price aside, this would be perfect. So if I'm charging 2K right now, but I'm going to make you 10K, wouldn't it be worth it? right? Wouldn't the cost of inaction of 8K be a bigger problem for you than paying me 2K, right? So you kind of have to learn how to deal with these objections over time. But here are some questions that help me. So what's your biggest challenge right now? You can actually use that pain point and sell back to them. So I actually had a sales call with somebody else earlier where I was being pitched to, and the person asked me, well, what's your goal with this thing that you want? And I said, well, my goal is to make as much amount of money as fast as possible. And then at the end of the pitch, he said, well, look, Dan, you said you want to make as much money as fast as possible. And that is exactly what I can do for you. So he turned my pain, my want, my need back onto me and positioned himself as the solution. So you always want to be the solution, right? Or another one, this one is more about the cost of inaction, right? What happens if your business doesn't fix this in 90 days? Where would your business be, right? If you're losing 8K a month by not doing this for 3 months, that would be a loss of $24,000, and you would only pay me $2,000 right now to potentially make this money back. Now, this is some objection handling, but again, this will just come with time. You're going to get better and better at it. And if none of it works, just do a free trial, a 14-day risk-free free trial. So pretty much almost every client is going to say yes, like, let's do it. It's only 14 days. Why not? And what do you lose? You either sign a client for 2K a month after this, or you lose 14 days, which doesn't matter because you still get to learn ads, you still get to run ads, you still get to build out a CRM, which once you build out one time, you have that snapshot forever and you can give it to other clients. You still get experience. Because you're starting out, this is super, super useful. It's a win-win scenario. And you can say something like, look, I don't want you to take my word for it. I want to prove it to you first. I'm going to run your ads for 14 days completely free. I'll build out your CRM. I'll do this. I'll build you a website, whatever your offer is. Another key point is that you could just start with the website, sell the website for $300, and then later on sell ads plus CRM for $1,500, right? For $1,500, or for $2,000 or for $1,000, whatever. But this is like your gateway entrance offer because the website is low ticket. And what you can do is charge them $300 and then like $100 a month. And if you do that, it's going to pay for your Go High Level and you'll have a little bit of money because Go High Level is $100 a month or $97 a month. They're pretty much going to pay for your Go High Level and then you're going to upsell it to them, right? So it costs you $100 and you can have 3 accounts, or you can pay $300 for unlimited accounts. So if you just get 3 people on this deal, your Go High Level is fully paid for, which pays for your personal agency website, and for all future clients, Go High Level is pretty much free for you. You're upselling it, right? And then later on, they're already in your ecosystem. Once you get more testimonials, you can sell them the ads plus CRM and show them, hey, look, I installed this thing. You're already working with me. You're happy. I already installed a similar system to a client just like you, and we made him a bunch of money. Like, let's do it. It's only $1,000. It's going to be much, much easier to sell to them then. Now, whichever option you pick, they're pretty much always going to say yes. If you can't close them for money, it's very low risk for them to do it for a 14-day free trial. So they usually always say yes to that. Now, obviously the client's going to be worse, less committed because they haven't paid you anything. But so you want to get commitment in other ways. So it's either money. And if it's not money, you want to get a contract, right? You want to get access to their Facebook ads manager. You want to get a card on file. You can just set that up on Stripe, set up a 14-day free trial. And after the 14 days, it charges them $1K. And you can tell them, hey, if you want to cancel before, we can cancel. Or you want to do the onboarding call. And you always want to do the onboarding call within 24 hours. Because after you onboard a client or after you sign a client, a lot of the times what's more important than results, or almost just as important as results, is actually how happy the client is, right? If the client is happy, if the client thinks they're getting value, they are not going to churn. A big aspect of the agency space isn't signing clients, it's keeping clients. And how you keep clients is by keeping them happy. And there's 2 aspects to that: money and just being there to communicate with them. I have so many times fired a person or fired a team because they are unable to respond fast enough. They're unable to be there when I need them. And this is a hack in the agency space. If you onboard within 24 hours, there's a way, way, way lower chance of them churning after the free trial. So as soon as you close them, you book a call in less than 24 hours. So if you book them at 4 p.m., you pretty much book them for 4 p.m. the next day to get on a call to get everything sorted. And on this call, you're going to explain exactly what you're going to do for them. And then you're going to get all the resources. You're going to make a Google Drive with all the documents, with their logo, with the contracts, with their Facebook ads account, right? Whatever you need, you do that on the onboarding call ASAP. And if you want some other objection handling stuff right here, you can like pretty much check it out. You can take some screenshots. These are specific objections that are very common, and here are the answers you can say. Now, you also want to record every single call using Fathom. Fathom is paid, but there's a free version. You don't have to pay for it. I highly recommend you use Fathom because what Fathom does, it records the videos, right, of you selling, and it also records the entire transcript. Now, what you could do is use my my prompt right here, you can literally copy this and throw that in with the transcript of the actual sales call, and you can train AI to tell you what you need to do, where you lost a client. I do this after every single sales call that I don't close. Where did I go wrong? Where could I push harder? Where could I push too much? What did I do wrong? What did I do right? And what this is going to do is this is going to teach you. It's going to teach you how to be better at closing, and so you can improve faster because you're going to have advice instantly. I can't help everyone. I can't mentor everyone, obviously. So if you don't want to work with me, work with yourself. Help yourself by actually studying your data and getting better at it. So you can build this little dashboard for yourself for all your closing calls, right? Eventually, you're going to have some data. Okay, this is where you started. You had these sales calls, and slowly you're getting better. Your close rate is getting higher. Maybe it's getting worse. Maybe you did this thing and you didn't close them, and you'll start to see patterns. You start to see how much you're improving with the specific reviews from Claude, right? With no reviews with Claude, you were doing this much, and now Claude reviews your stuff. You got better. Now this is your close rate. This is your multiplier. So you always want to track all this data, because data is the most important thing in any business, specifically an agency business, because the more data you have, the more technical and smart decisions you can make. But congratulations, you just signed your first client and you got paid for the first time ever. So let's actually talk about delivery. How are you going to deliver? Well, the main service that I highly recommend everyone sells is Facebook ads, a CRM system right here in Go High Level, which is actually easier than you think, and also a website right here, a website build out, which you can do in Go High Level. If you don't want to do it in Claude or Lovable, you can do it in Go High Level. You can also do it in Claude or Lovable. Either one works, but Go High Level is the best in my opinion because one, it's unlimited free credits. Two, you're already using it for your own agency website. And by the way, like I said, if you want the longer extended free trial, use my link. But for the meta ads, it's actually pretty simple. The very first thing you need to do is get access to their Facebook account. And what they need to do is create a Facebook page. Now, most people already have this. So under this Facebook page, they have an automatic business portfolio. A lot of people don't really know about it, but there's a business portfolio. Under the business portfolio, you get added as a staff member, and then you can create the ads manager. And that's where you're actually going to create all the ads. Next thing you want to do is install the Meta Pixel. And if you already have built their website on Go High Level, what you can do is go to sites, or you can go, if you're using the AI builder, you can just tell AI to add it. But what you do is you go to websites, you click on a website, you click on settings, and then Meta is going to give you a pixel tracking code. They literally give you the entire thing, and you just copy it, you paste it right here, and you also paste it right here. And if you're in the AI studio, just say, hey, add this code to the header and the body of the website, and then paste in the code. There's no technical stuff needed, right? Number 3 is you actually build a lead generation campaign. So this isn't a full Facebook ads video. I'm going to make one of those really, really soon. This is really the breakdown of the services. So you're going to make a lead generation campaign, which is really simple to do. You just select the lead generation and you pretty much upload the ads. And then you're going to have 3 to 4 ads per offer. So I highly recommend you try out 3 offers at first. So let's say $50 off the service, whatever it is, maybe something like 20% off the service. And this is $50 off the service. And then this one will be like buy X, get Y free. Right, so now we have 3 different offers. For each offer, we're going to create 3 separate ads. So add 1, add 2, add 3. And then for this one, add 1, add 2, and add 3. And same for the last one, add 1, add 2, and add 3. Because a lot of ads, they don't do well. So for the first offer, maybe only add 1 does good and add 2 and add 3 do terrible. For offer 2, let's say add 2 does good, but offer 1 and 3 do bad. And for this last one, let's say all of them do bad. Now you have 2 winning ads, and they're probably going to last you like an entire month, but you should constantly be testing more and more ads. Realistically though, with home service, almost all the ads do well. And it's pretty easy to run up home service. That's why I'm specifically in that niche, home service or a local business, stuff like that. Now, depending on your niche, for your budget, it's going to be a little bit different, or for your client's budget who's providing the money for the ads, it's a little bit different. For high ticket services, the budget needs to be bigger. So let's say if somebody's selling something for $10K, the cost per lead might be $100. And if they get, 10 leads, it's going to cost $1,000. And let's say after 10 leads, they close 1 person. So it costs $1,000, but they closed a 10K deal and they made 9K profit, and they pay you like 2K. Compared to something like car detailing, where it's only $200 service, right? Let's say the cost per lead would generally be much cheaper, something like $6. And then let's say you get 10 leads, that's $60. So they made $140 profit. They can't pay you 2K, So the budget for this though is going to be much cheaper because the cost per lead is much cheaper compared to a high ticket service. The cost per lead will be much more expensive. They need at least $1,000, if not more, to start running ads. So it's like what, $30 a day? Compared to car detailing, you could start even with $10 a day and start seeing results. But for low ticket niches, you need more volume. That's why I really recommend higher ticket niches. just because you need less volume and you need less leads to make more money for the company. And then you just check every 2 to 3 days, do adjustments as needed. If the ad is doing bad, turn it off. If the ad is doing good, up the budget. Now you might be wondering, Dan, how the hell do I actually make the ads? Well, I'm going to show you this right now, how you could use Higgsfield AI or Gemini or CapCut to create different ads. Now there's two types of ads. There's static ads and there's video ads. So static ads are super easy to make with AI, and you can pump out genuinely hundreds of them a day. Video ads, you can also make them with AI. I make them with AI, but it takes a little bit more time. A video ad generally takes you maybe like 30 minutes, and a static ad will take you, I don't know, maybe like 2 minutes. So you can make way more of them. So for the static ad, I actually be recording this video because it cut out, but I'll show you right now. This is a static ad that I made. And all I did is I took this image I found in the Facebook ad library. So if we go back and I type in PPF car, I'm going to find somebody else's ad that I like. So if I scroll down, there should be some kind of ad here. Let's scroll. These are all not the best. So I just found some ads. Let's say I take this window tint one, and I like it. So I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to paste this into Higgsfield. By the way, you can do this with Gemini because you see right here, Nano Banana Pro. I'm just literally using Gemini. I just use Higgsfield because I pay for the yearly maxed out subscription because I use a lot of credits. And then I'm just going to say, instead of the Tesla, replace the image with the Lamborghini. And let's see if there's a logo, and get rid of the logo on the bottom right. And by the way, if you have a logo, you can just upload it and say, replace the logo with this logo. I'm going to generate 2 variants of this. So let's see what happens. But I'm telling you, it always comes out fire. As you can see, this is the ad that I edited earlier, and this was the base image. So it had a logo, it had a Cybertruck, and it said Cybertruck, and now it says Lamborghini, and the ad is actually clear. And this is the reference image we gave it of this Lamborghini. If you look at it, it's actually insane. You see the headrest, but you can pretty much do this for plumbing, for roofing, for any niche, HVAC. You can just steal other people's ads and remake them for yourself. So while this ad is loading, let me actually tell you how to make video ads. So video ads are a little bit different because you actually have to script them out. You have to script out the hook, the actual offer, and the call to action. So usually the call to action is get a free quote, but it can also be get $50 off, get 20% off, get buy this, get XYZ, but it generally is fill out a form, right? Fill out some kind of form to get the customer's email and get the customer's number and get the customer's name. Those are the 3 things that you need. And then for the hook, usually the hook is actually also the call to action in a way. So you'll tell them, hey, you get this much off. Or it can be a visual hook, which is a little bit different, as you probably seen them on TikTok, or like somebody throws something at a car or some shit. But what you can do is you can steal a bunch of clips on TikTok. Let's say, again, PPF car app, you can go to TikTok, take a bunch of clips of different companies cleaning the car, you know, installing window tint, installing PPF, doing something else. Take them and then sequence them together into like a 1-minute video. And then what you do is go to 11 Labs right here. And what you do is pretty much, again, go to the Facebook ad library, find a video. Let's say this video ad right here. I don't want to play it because there's audio, but what you do is you would download this video right here, and then you would upload it to MP4 to text 11 Lab. You'd upload it right here. Boom. It'll give you a transcript. You copy the transcript, you put it into Claude, and you say, hey, replace this with my company's name and replace this offer with this offer. So whatever their offer is, you're going to say, for example, let's say $50 off. You'll tell Claude to add $50 off, keep everything else the same. And then you put it into 11 Labs and it can generate this voice.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer.
And you can actually use any voice. They have other women, they have other men, all that stuff. And then what you're going to do is pretty much layer the voice over the videos, and then you're going to add subtitles using CapCut, and boom, your video is done. This obviously takes a bit longer, like 20-30 minutes, but these usually do really well as well. Now let's see how the ad looks. There you go. The ad looks fire. And then you can just add your own logo or your customer or client's logo right here on the bottom. So this is the after and this is the before. And if you look at the reference image of the Lamborghini, it looks exactly the same. It even has the headrest, it has the logo, it has the logo on the tires right here. Boom, boom, looks perfect, right? Has everything you need. So you can pump out a bunch of static ads really easily. Now for Go High Level, it's actually much easier than you think. Since you already use it for yourself, it's awesome to use for your clients, because number one, once you set this up once, you can use this unlimited times for any client. It's called a snapshot, right? So you set up an account, individual account for your client, you can download it and you can upload it for every single client that you get. And what can you do in these snapshots? Well, you can have lead intake forms, right? You can build their websites with a lead intake that collects the customer's information. You can have SMS follow-up. So as you can see, this specific follow-up that I showed you earlier is pretty much how we set it up for our clients. So let's say a new lead comes in, it gets dragged into follow-up 1. And once it gets dragged into follow-up 1, it pretty much gets automatically messaged a few times until the customer responds, and it gets voicemail and it gets email and all that stuff. And then if they still don't respond, it automatically goes to follow-up 2, where it waits a few days and then it does it again. And then it goes to follow-up 3, waits a few days, then it goes again. Then again with follow-up 4, and then they go to either booked or not booked, depending if they got booked. And if we did not get an answer for them, they go to lost not answered, and then 60 days from now or 90 days from now, they get messaged again if they're interested in the service. So this way we can actually close more clients with ads because we're not letting any people fall through the crack. You can also set up AI chat assistants. If you look right here in AI Studio, if you look right here in AI agents, there is voice AI, right? So it can talk to people, it can do outbound calls. There's conversation AI that can take in calls, it can transfer it to the owner, it can send the messages, it can book them in. There's a bunch of different AIs that you can use. There's the follow-up sequences that I showed you. You can have it send people calls or texts after missed calls. There's so many different automations that are super useful for fixing leaky funnels. And then obviously you can just build the website with AI Studio like I showed you in the beginning. Now, like I said, once you build this once, it's done forever. You can download the snapshot and install this same snapshot for every single client, right? So you have everyone, boom, 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 boom. So it's one-time build out and you sell this account forever. Like I said, boys, click the link down below for the extended trial. Now, you might be delivering, and delivering is actually not the hard part. The hard part is making sure your client is happy. So let me show you how you can utilize AI to make sure your client stays with you forever. Now, like I said earlier, the real reason clients leave is because communication and because they're sad and unhappy. So this right here is something I call the clarity battery. It is very important. As soon as the client gets to the bottom of the clarity battery, the client leaves, even if you bring them good results. That is very important for you to know. If you never talk to your client, but you bring them good results, they will still leave because they will not understand the value you bring to them. Now, if the client is happy, even if your results are mid or your results are not the best, they are much more likely to stay with you long term. Because, for example, let's say you just launched the ads, and ads usually take a few days to stabilize. But let's say week 1, your ads are doing really bad, and week 2, you know your ads are going to do really good, right? And that's generally how it is. You start off a little bit slower. If your client is here in week 1 and they see the ads are doing bad or they're wasting money and it's not doing good, and they have no idea that in a week the ads are going to print and make a bunch of money, they're going to get unhappy and they're going to leave you, right? So this is the power of clarity. If they understand what the future is looking like and they know what's happening exactly right now, they're going to feel comforted. They're going to feel like they're working with someone they can trust, who's being honest with them, and they're going to stay with you longer. So the goal is clarity and communication. And this is exactly where Claude comes in, because you can utilize Claude to make communication way easier. All you have to do is create a project. In this project, you just put in the client's name, right? You can create an individual project for each client, and you can use my client reporting dashboard that we created right here. But pretty much you can use Claude to generate the actual weekly reports every single week with your client. And you can use Zapier to pull the data from Facebook and from Go High Level and GHL pretty much, and give weekly reports in Slack, Discord, or WhatsApp, whatever you use, and they send them automatically to the customer with a summary with the report. That makes communication a million times easier, and you never have to do anything. So this is what I recommend you start out with. Simply daily end of day text, right? Tell them what's happening, tell them what's going to happen, a screenshot of the ads or something like that, something very light, and just kind of comfort them so they know they're in good hands. Weekly reports, you can use AI to generate a report just like this. For example, how much revenue they're doing, how much they spend, how much the cost per lead was, and you can just export all this data from Facebook. If you don't want to use Zapier yourself, just do it manually and send it to them. And then you can also generate monthly reports, which are going to be a lot more in depth, which shows them how they're going week by week, how much money is being generated, the changes, the growth, all that stuff. Now, at the end of each month, I also recommend you do a debrief session with them, kind of talking about where we're going to go next, what's happening. And then I also recommend you do weekly calls just to kind of just tell them, hey, this is what happened this week. Do you have any questions? Do you want anything changed? Right? And this means your client will be happy. The clarity battery is full. Yay. Now, I did say this is a one-person business, but if you want to scale with VAs, you could absolutely do that. And not just VAs for you, but VAs for your clients. So there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can easily get VAs on onlinejobs.ph for anywhere from $2 to $7 an hour. For your client, what they can do is they can dial the leads. When a lead comes in, if they don't have a sales team, they can dial the leads. Let's say you get a VA for $3 an hour, and then you upsell it to them for $8 an hour. Now, that means that you're going to be collecting $5 an hour doing absolutely nothing. Now, $5 an hour, 8 hours a day, that's $40 a day. We do that times 5 days, that's $200 a week. And we do that times 4 weeks, that's $800 additional dollars every single month for you doing absolutely nothing. Now, you can also get VAs for yourself. What they can do is actually just type in these prompts and manually send this stuff to your client and communicate with your client, even run the ads. It's not the hard part. The hard part is getting the clients, right? A lot of people know how to run ads. If we go to onlinejobs.ph, you'll see there's a bunch of people that will run ads for cheap right here. Okay, these are a little bit more expensive, but if we scroll down, there's $5 an hour, $5 an hour, $4.99, $3.72, right? $3.72. If you upsell this for $8 an hour, you're going to be making practically $5 an hour for doing absolutely nothing. Here's another one, $3 an hour. This one is doing $2 an hour. So you can absolutely upsell these services, and they can also help you make sure the client is happy and the Clarity battery is always full. You can also use Upwork, but Upwork is usually more expensive and you won't be able to upsell it. But onlinejobs.ph, great. I've hired a lot of people from there. I have a lot of people hired even right now from there, but you do have to pay $60 a month to use it. Regardless, you can train them to send SOPs, to send daily screenshots to the clients, to pull weekly data, to update the Go High Level pipeline, right? To call the leads, whatever. They can do a million things. Everything you don't want to do, they can do, and then you can upsell it to your client. They can upload new creatives. They can even make creatives, right? If you give them access to the AI, you could tell them exactly how to do it, and they'll constantly do that. Now, like I said, the best part about Go High Level is once it's set up, this is the snapshot duplication system. You download it once from client 1, and then you give it to client 2. You just change the logos, the branding, and now you can keep doing this for client 3 and client 4, and you only had to set it up one time, which means you can create one product and sell it a million different times, literally unlimited times, and just keep making money from it. And guess what? Now you're making 10K per month. Okay, maybe not yet, but you signed your first client, you delivered, the client is happy, you got a testimonial, you went back to outreach, and you kept doing this until you have 5 clients at 2K per month. Now, how do you actually scale from 10K? Because you can't call leads forever. You can't dial forever. You can hire cold callers, but eventually, in order to scale, you need to do something very important. In order to scale, you need to have leads come to you. Right now, you're chasing other leads, right? You're chasing other people, and it's very hard because you need to sell them the problem. You need to tell them, hey, your business has a problem. And most people don't think their business has a problem. But what if people who knew their business had a problem started coming to you? Well, then you would just have to sell the solution and not the problem. And that makes things much, much easier. Well, how do you just sell the solution? Well, this is where the scaling step comes in. Right? All you need to do is with your few clients, even if you're charging, $300, $1,000, something low ticket, if you just have a couple of clients, what you want to do is just get a bunch of proof, a bunch of testimonials. And that does 2 things for you. Number 1, it makes outreach, even cold outreach, way easier because you can leverage testimonials and it'll be much easier to close clients. But also, getting more clients is going to get you more testimonials, which means that that's going to get you more clients and more testimonials. And eventually, with these testimonials, you can start making content and not just recording testimonials, but posting on YouTube. And I actually closed a client just a few days ago for 2K a month. If you look up how to run ads for PPF shops, this is my main niche. As you can see, my video has 6K views. It is the first one that comes up. You can check yourself right now. I have 123 likes. I have a bunch of comments, and I have a booking link right here that goes to my direct calendar where they can book with me and pretty much buy from me. Now, this is 123 likes. Imagine if 10% of those people bought from me. That's 12 people. They're paying 2K a month each. That's $24,000 a month just from this one video. Now, if you go back and actually scroll down a little bit, the second video that's not an ad, or actually the third video, is one of the students in my program right here. This is Josh. You've probably seen him if you go on my website down below if you do want to work with us. But he also uploads, and even though it doesn't get crazy views, 8 views, 20 views, 100 views, 50 views, this one got 300 views, this one got 200 views. He had a few good ones, like this one got 1.8K. This has brought him a decent amount of clients and a decent amount of money because the people that watch these videos are problem aware buyers. You are currently outreaching to problem unaware buyers, and people who are problem aware already understand the bridge. They already understand that they need you for the bridge. So this is them right here, right? And then this is where they want to be, right? This is them with no ads and less money. And here they would have more money and run ads. Well, they understand that they need to go from here to here, and they're watching videos how to go from here to here. The clients you're cold outreaching, they don't know that they're here. They don't know that they're here. So it's hard for you to sell them to go here. But these specific customers that watch your videos, they know they're here and they know they need to get here. And they know that there's 2 ways here. They either pay someone or they figure it out themselves. And the people that don't want to figure it out themselves pay to get here with very little objections because they already want this. And this is the power of content. You get problem aware buyers. So whether it's building out a CRM, whether it's running ads, whether it's building a website, they know they need to pay to get a solution, and they want to pay to get a solution. Now, what are some content ideas? You can make Miro boards just like this one. You can make Miro boards just like this one on short form, right? Talk about common problems, why they happen, how do you solve this for other clients, testimonials. And in these videos, you can have a call to action, comment roofers, comment PPF, and I'll send you a full guide on how to run ads for this industry. And then that goes to ManyChat. ManyChat is an automation software. So if they comment something, let's say roofers, or let's say PPF, they'll automatically get sent a link to their DM to a YouTube video where they're going to go and watch your testimonial and watch a video on how to run ads. And they'll see, oh wait, this guy knows what he's talking about. And then what happens is they go down the pipeline and they book a call right here and they buy from you with very little objection. And they usually are willing to pay more. The guy that I closed for $2K a month with $1K a month retainer just literally 2 days ago had zero objection. I could have probably charged $4K. He literally had no objections. His current location was making $150K, and his next, and he's buying a second location. So this guy is freaking rich, and this guy has a lot of money. He's super qualified. And after this location, once we do well, we're gonna get the second one as well, which means that we're gonna be making $4K just up front, and then we're also charging him 3 months. So he's on a 3-month plan, $1K each month. So that's $3K from that, and then also for the second location, another $3K. So just from this one client, we've made, or we're going to make $10K. So far, we've made $2K, right? That's great. That's from YouTube. That's from something that took me 30 minutes to record. And if they do watch a YouTube video and they just don't book a call, but they might DM you asking you questions, you can just talk to them for a little bit and then boom, send them a booking link, and they're already qualified. They already know who you are. They already know you have testimonials. And again, they buy from you with no objections, and they're ready to pay upfront fully. Now, this is the long-term breakdown right here. You get one client, and this client is going to pay you, let's say, $3,000 from content. And then he's going to pay you another for the next month, and then another for the next month for the full build out, because you know he wants the full build out. And that's $12K right here. Now, this client is going to bring you another client with the testimonials that you get from them, or maybe even a referral. And then this client will bring you another client with the testimonials, and then this one will as well, and then this one will as well. And this just compounds. And eventually, all these clients are going to be paying you $12K, right? So your LTV, let's say for this client, let's say on average, they stay 4 months with you. Usually if you're doing good service, I would say they stay for you 6 months for $2K a month, or a year. They can also stay for $2K a month. It just depends on what you're selling and how good you are at what you do. But that would be, let's just say, an average of LTV of $12K from each person. So all you need to do is stack up a bunch of clients, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clients, boom, times $12K. That's $60K in 6 months from 5 clients. Now you get 10 clients, and now you're making $120K, boom, in 6 months. So what is that? $240K a month, or sorry, $240K a year? Hey, that's not bad. And that's why this is the business. You're not building a side hustle. You're building something that's going to last. And eventually, all these clients are going to stack up, and you're going to have like a nice selection of like 10 clients that just never leave. And these 10 clients are always going to pay their 2K retainer, always on time, always no issues. And you're going to be making a solid 20K per month, even 30K if you're charging 3K a month, or if you have more clients. Now, this is pretty much the entire system. And like I said, if you are interested in working with me, click the link down below, and I am hosting a crazy mastermind where we're going to go even more in depth in this into the business model. If you want all the resources, click the link down below. And if you do want to go high level extended trial, click the link down below. Otherwise, watch my other videos, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.